Hi everyone, it's me, Jazzy Mac, and let's talk about today's work from home opportunity. But if you are new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so nice to meet you. And I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe because we do have some exclusive work from home content that is only available to my subscribers because y'all are loyal and I love y'all. So let's hop right in. We have some awesome opportunities for Home Depot. And yes, all of these are virtual. All of these are going to be no phones. Now, some of these are going to be more customer support based roles. And then I have a role that is actually going to be data entry. Now, we are going to talk about the job description. We'll talk about the salary. And of course, I will be doing the resume demonstration. And for those of you that want to have that ready-made resume, it's going to be down in the description box. And for those of you that already have the resume bundle subscription, it is already in your library. It's already there for you. And the cheat sheet interview questions are already there. So let's hop into the first role. Hold on. I forgot. We got to do shout outs. Okay. I just got a bunch of good news from some people on my video from yesterday, and I need to shout these people out. So super quick. I want to give a shout out to Mel. She said, I'm starting with Discover Financial as an AM inbound customer support on January 17th. Thanks to you. OMG, Mel, I am so proud of you. Like, this was excellent news and I didn't even know that. So thank you for letting me know that you got the job and you have a start date very soon. The next person we have is Bands G that said, thank you so much for your knowledge. You have helped me get hired at Amex. Woo! So excited for you. And Tiara said, I want to say thank you so much. Ever since I found your channel, I've applied and gotten 4 job offers and interviews back to back. Listen, I'm proud of you, Tiara. Listen, you guys, these resumes work, okay? All you have to do is put in the effort, all right? You have to put in the effort. So our first role is going to be a customer experience analyst role. And I want to go ahead and call out this whole location thing because I'm going to get questions on it. Okay. For this location, it says Atlanta, but if you scroll down under work location, it says remote virtual, which means an associate in a remote virtual role typically is not required to work from a designated location to complete their job duties. We refer to this as location independent. So no matter where you're located, you can work virtually. Okay. I want to emphasize that. So please do not comment saying this is for Atlanta because I just read where it says this is location independent. Okay. So customer experience analyst, what is this? Okay, well, I want to point out a couple of different things. Let's see. I want to bring up this sheet. So for a customer service analyst, the type of person that's generally going to qualify for jobs like this are going to be people that work in a call center. If you've ever done technical support, you've ever done auditing, maybe you've been a team lead, shift manager, project coordinator, even an office manager, or if you've ever worked in feedback and surveys. And I'm going to show you why based on their requirements. So a lot of you have this experience. You just don't know it. But it basically says that you're going to assess the associate skills levels based on the brand voice, value, and empathy and determine whether associate behaviors during customer interactions are acceptable for each particular case based on the customer's issue and the solution that was offered to the customer and proper system actions. Now, that was just a fancy way of saying you're going to either review phone calls, like you may listen in on phone calls, or you may review the chat queue to make sure that the agents that are assisting customers are, being polite and that they're actually being helpful and they're not keeping customers on hold forever. So it says that you're going to basically have oversight by assessing a minimum number of interactions per agent on a monthly basis. So it could be, a few times a week where you just listen in on a call, or where you actually talk to an agent and you say, hey, I listened to your call the other day. You had that customer on hold way too long. Or when you were in the chat queue, you had them waiting for longer than the 60 seconds that we typically try to get back to people on. So you're basically going to be evaluating other people and how they interact with customers. And if there's like any type of survey or customer satisfaction survey that was filled out and there was like a negative rating, you would be the person that would say, okay, let me go back and look at this customer interaction. Let's look at this chat interaction and see, was there anything off or anything rude that was said to make the customer not feel appreciated? So that is going to be the bulk of it. You won't have any direct reports. And again, this is going to be a virtual role. So going back to my little sheet here, the salary for this position, not that. The salary for this position based on Glassdoor was $47,000 to $66,000 a year. This is going to depend on your experience and your geographical location. So $24 to $33 per hour is going to be the rate for the customer experience analyst. So this is going to be in your library for those of you that already have the resume bundle, the ultimate resume bundle. So let's go ahead and take a look at the actual resume breakdown so that you all can ensure you've got the proper hot words. So always have to give my disclaimer. Don't copy this word for word. Be honest about your experience, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Operate with integrity. Okay. So some of the hot words that were mentioned, of course, were customer experience. So I personally always like to say, I'm excited to use my skills or whatever for the Home Depot team. And I like to say the name of the team, okay, because it helps with the hot words, and it also helps them to know that you've tailored your resume. Now, some of the other things that we saw in the job description that we would want to make sure we called out are words like escalations, voice of customer. Isn't something that was necessarily in the job description, but I would want to call that out if I've got experience in that. Supervising is something you may want to call out. If you've ever worked in a call center, even if you weren't a supervisor, you want to call out that you had to operate with empathy in a timely resolution. So that's another set of words you may want to call out. If you've ever worked with CSATs, which are customer satisfaction surveys, that is definitely something that you'll want to call out. You've ever been a call center agent, that would certainly be something that you want to call out. So maybe you've provided performance feedback to the agents you've worked with, or if you worked in even a restaurant setting, maybe you provided feedback to the people that operated the cash register. This whole job is all about listening, auditing, giving feedback to make sure that customers have a wonderful experience. Okay. So even if you have not worked in a call center, if you've worked, at Zaxby's as a team lead, or you worked at CVS, you worked at some other retail store where you were there to either be a manager, some sort of supervisor, or if you were just in general, like responsible for greeting customers, like you worked at Walmart as a people greeter, part of that is, making people feel good when they come into the store. So those are things that you definitely want to call out. Some of the other hot words were cross-functional, QA, which stands for quality assurance. And anything else that you may want to add, you can throw in here as appropriate, but that's going to be the bulk of it for this role. So let's go ahead and hop over to our next role. So our next role is going to be the contact center workforce administrator. Okay. Don't let this particular role, the name of it, intimidate you. It is going to be a very fancy named role for someone that does like scheduling for employees and time card approvals. So if we kind of look here at what they're ultimately doing, it says here you're going to be responsible for maintaining accurate headcount and associate detail reporting for assigned lines of business. Okay. If we go down here, it says that you're going to work between departments and different systems, and you will maintain headcount. You will process reports that include things related to absences, leaves of absence, work paid hours, and similar things. You will also account for schedule updates related to early departures, special events, yada, yada, yada. Okay. So basically you're the person that, let's say if I worked at the call center and I worked 45 hours, but for some reason I was only clocked at 40 hours, I come to you and say, hey, can you approve these extra 5 hours on my timesheet to make sure that I get properly paid? So anybody, let's see, what did I have on my little sheet here? If you have worked in, human resources, maybe you were responsible for creating schedules at a previous job. If you've ever done event coordination, project management, or any type of data entry, this is going to be a great job for you. Glassdoor showed that it paid up to $56,000 per year. And again, this is going to be no phones. This is pretty much the epitome of a data entry job, where you're entering information related to head count, how many people are on the team, how many hours they ultimately worked, how many times they requested off, any type of anything dealing with attendance is going to be pretty much the bulk of this job. So again, remote virtual for this work location. And the resume breakdown for this one, I'm just going to kind of fly through it. That is the workforce admin. Let's take a peek at that, right? So, of course, we don't want to lie about our resume. We want to be as honest as possible, right? So let's say you worked in HR, or maybe you worked previously as a trainer. We always want to call out the name of the job in our summary just because it helps with hot words. But maybe as a trainer or onboarding specialist, you were responsible for bringing in new hires and doing monthly orientations for them, right? So we want to call out where you scheduled those orientations. That's a good hot word. Maybe you had to account for their attendance during that time. Maybe you had to work cross-functionally with these other teams out there, because those were some of the other hot words that I think I saw in the job description. Maybe you did things like you did time card approvals. Let's say you worked at McDonald's and you were a supervisor at McDonald's. You had to approve the time for those people. So even if you were not necessarily an administrator, as it calls out in the job description, you still did administrator tasks that required you to, input data and approve different things. So those are some of the things that you'll want to call out based on your actual experience. And if you've actually used some of the tools, the HRIS tools, NICE and Chronos, these are tools that are used to approve time cards. So Google it, YouTube it, get familiar with it. So you'll at least understand in the interview if they ask you about that. You can say, oh yeah, I am familiar with those tools as far as knowing what they do. And, knowing the functionalities of them to do things like, approve time and, stuff like that. So Let's hop into our last role. Again, this workforce administrator job is going to be our data entry role. For our very last role, this is going to be more supervisory, okay? A little bit more complex. And this is for the contact center. So essentially, the contact center is pretty much going to be for people that, are calling in. They may have some sort of issue with their purchase or their online purchase or something like that. And so, of course, you have those agents that assist customers. So as a supervisor, you would be responsible for organizing the day-to-day operations of that contact center, making sure that they meet performance goals. You're going to do scheduling, team scheduling based on, availability, and just making sure that customer needs are being met. Right. And then in addition to that, you're going to make sure that customer transactions are happening in a timely manner. You don't want an agent that takes 30 minutes to answer a simple question for a customer when they call in. So you may be listening in on some phone calls, or you may just be looking at the volume of the calls and comparing that to, the agents, like call times, their hold times, their escalation times, or their escalation percentages. And you'll say, okay, this person has a really high escalation rate. Maybe they need more training. Maybe they don't understand the products that we ultimately offer our customers. So let's get them into some more training, something of that nature. And then conflict resolution, if there's any sort of reason a customer just isn't happy with the service that they're getting, a call maybe escalated to you for you to answer certain questions. But I do want to, emphasize that this is the smallest part of the job. So it sounds like the biggest part is going to be you kind of supervising, not necessarily being on phones. Now, this position does come with direct reports. Okay. And again, the work location is remote virtual, meaning that it is location independent and you're not required to work in an office. Okay, so let's look at how much that job ultimately pays. So for the supervisory role, Glassdoor showed that it paid $58,000 to $93,000 per year. So pretty close to six figures. And of course, that's going to depend on, your background, your experience, and your geographical location. So, obviously call center work, contact center work is going to be a plus if you've worked in escalations, or you were some sort of customer service advisor or trainer, even an inventory manager, or you've worked in like customer retention. Those are going to be all very, very relatable work that you ultimately can use to your advantage for this job. Now, when it comes to some of the interview questions and answers, I like to kind of prep you guys. Now, I've put the answers to these in the Ultimate Resume Library for those of you that are already signed up. If not, you can sign up in the description box. But some of the common questions you're going to hear is always going to be, tell me a little bit about yourself, okay? They're probably going to ask you, what do you know about Home Depot? Where's the headquarters? When was Home Depot originally founded? You say, well, it was founded in 1978, just in Atlanta. And, I know that you guys have over 100 stores worldwide now. They may ask you who the CEO of Home Depot is, okay? They may ask you what sorts of products are primarily sold at Home Depot. And then they could ask you behavioral questions like, tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult employee. What was the situation and what was the result? Okay, they may ask you if you're familiar with certain software, and this is for like supervisors only. So, but yeah, so let me know if you all have questions. Congratulations to all of those people out there that have already landed a job either this month or you start next month. I'm so very proud of you all, and let me know what other types of jobs you want to see. But until then, I will see you all in the next video. Bye.